John Lee, the president and CEO of Barr Engineering, is here. We're going to talk a little bit about the long history that firm has with clean, beautiful coal in our wonderful lignite industry in North Dakota. John, thanks for joining us. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me, Scott.
Glad to have you on the program. Do you tweet, John? This is kind of our informal survey question of the day. Are you a Twitter type?
I am not personally. We have folks here in our company that do that, but I do not tweet.
All right. Yeah, you're not alone. There's a lot of other people here, but we're just doing a little informal survey here. If you did tweet, we would tag you on a little tweet about this very segment. But I think you'll live without it. So let's get to the important stuff.
Yeah.
How long have you been connected to the lignite industry? Let's talk a little bit about your firm, what you do, and how it connects to the lignite industry here in North Dakota.
Well, Barr Engineering Company, we're an environmental engineering consultant. We've been working with the Lignite Energy for over 40 years. And I've personally been working, I worked at Barr for 38 years, and one of my first projects was out at Coal Creek Station when it first came online. I was working on site there.
Doing what?
Long time.
Yeah, it is a long time. And tell us a little bit about the work. What does an environmental engineering consultant do?
Well, we do a wide range of things, but for the Lignite Energy businesses, we do, on the environmental side, we do environmental permitting, environmental compliance, help them with their air quality permitting and testing, environmental review related to new projects. On the engineering side, we do the traditional mechanical, electrical, structural, civil, geotechnical work for both the power plants and the mines.
And you are a Minnesota company, am I right?
Yes, our headquarters in Minnesota. We have 3 offices here, but we have an office in Bismarck that we opened in 2009.
So this is something I don't think people think about is that, obviously this industry contributes mightily to your bottom line. Your Minnesota company employ people there, obviously employ people here and have offices here as well. But the ripple effects of doing that work for nearly 40 years with the lignite industry for Barr Engineering ends up positively impacting a lot of people that work for your company and their families and the economy of all of the communities in which they live in, right?
Oh yeah, that's definitely the case. We have about 20 people in our Bismarck office, but we probably have dozens of folks continuously working on projects in North Dakota from our other offices, particularly our Hibbing and Duluth offices and Minneapolis office here in Minnesota.
Just something for folks to keep in mind when you think about that. You're a member, a veteran member of the Lignite Energy Council's board of directors, and again, this industry is powered by a whole lot of folks that contribute to the industry. So we think of the coal industry as the power plant, the mine, right? But I mean, what about the drag line and all the things there? What about the engineering work and what's needed there, and all of the different components that go into building the turbines and all the stuff that happened there? I mean, the amount of people that it takes to make this industry go, and the vendors, the people that make up the Lignite Energy Council, is breathtaking, really, isn't it, John?
Well, it is. The Lignite Energy Council has I think over 200 what they call contractor supplier members, and it's a great trade organization. The folks at the plants and the mines, they really value those of us who provide them with services, and they really think of us as partners, and we work together to make lignite energy clean and efficient and reliable, and we really work well together. It's been a great relationship for decades.
If there is any frustration I have, following this industry, it is seeing people who have the passion you do and others do to contribute in a way to making the industry, cleaner all the time, right? I mean, more and more environmentally friendly all the time. Billions of dollars invested, and that translating into technology that makes, the ability to generate power affordably for consumers, reliably for consumers, and yet we have some of the cleanest air ever. And then see the industry absolutely bludgeoned by the extreme environmentalist and say it's something it isn't. That really is frustrating for me as a vendor, as someone that supplies the industry with a product they need. In the case of engineering, what do you think when you see all the things that are said about the industry and what they do?
Well, I think it is frustrating because I think people oversimplify and don't recognize all the environmental improvements that have been made in the industry for years and years. About 10 years ago, we started working on a project at Coal Creek Station that resulted in what they call dry fining, and that was where we captured waste heat from that power plant, used it to pre-dry the coal, increase the efficiency of that power plant, and reducing emissions. And that's an example of the type of things that have happened over the last decades that I don't think people fully appreciate.
Yeah, and help me understand a little bit more about dry fining. So you're taking something that is heat you don't need anymore, and then actually drying the lignite. What is the environmental benefit there? Just walk me through that a little bit.
Well, when you increase the efficiency, that's exactly you summarize it quite well. Is we take waste heat, we dry the coal before it goes into the boiler. If we didn't, then some of that heat that generated in the boiler would have to drive off the water and would reduce the efficiency of the plant. And so, and there are other benefits in that process where we segregate portions of the coal to remove some of the polluting constituents as part of the process, in addition to the efficiency gains. So it was quite an innovative process, and it's a shame there isn't more research being done to do similar types of projects.
So, that particular project, somebody first comes up with that idea, puts it on a whiteboard, says, I think if we did this, we took this waste heat, we could actually dry the lignite, we'd save the energy. How long does the research take? From the first time it goes on a whiteboard to the actual research to actually doing it, what kind of process is that?
Well, that project was actually conceived, I think, in the late 1990s. And then there was some bench scale testing and a prototype constructed, and the actual commercial scale project didn't come online until 2009. So there's a long lead time on some of those things. But the Lignite Energy Council was a sponsor, along with the Department of Energy and others, in getting that project to go. And Great River Energy really went out on a limb to make something great happen there. So.
Yeah, my point in asking is that this stuff takes a while. I mean, you can't think of it and to do it. You really need to refine it. Energy Environmental Research Center does a great job of that up at UND in some of these bigger projects, getting them to scale. But, it takes time. It takes time. And that's where some of the critics have it wrong in suggesting that you just sort of flip a switch. And they're really suggesting that this be done by that date just to really end the industry, not being realistic. But if you let the industry do what it does and you let the research do what it does, it ultimately produces a great outcome. And we have what we have, clean air and incredible energy generation here with 900-year supply of economically recoverable coal and affordable, reliable energy, and an opportunity to say, hey, let's go with all of the above to meet the energy needs of America. It's fun to watch happen. It really is. John, anything else you want to tell us?
No, I just think, I will say that besides the time, it also takes funding, and I think government support that's been we've seen in North Dakota has been really helpful, and for the industry as well. So I think we should mention that. Yeah,
the Industrial Commission has funded some of these research projects that ultimately, or contribute to the funding of them, that ultimately end up, making coal cleaner and adding to the technology that's winning. It's good stuff. Barr Engineering,
yep.
Minneapolis headquarters, but offices in North Dakota, including a satellite office in Bismarck, a partner alongside the lignite industry. Great story, John. Thanks for sharing it with us today.